Hey, what's going on, fellow survivors? This is Sid with Studio Wildcard, and this week I'm going to be bringing you a custom map. I've done a lot of mods, and I feel like I haven't really touched on the maps at all, so I figured I would go ahead and play around with the map and show you guys what it has to offer. This is Madagascar Evolved. You can find this in the workshop. It is one of the maps that is really trending, and it's one of the newer maps as well. Some of the maps that you see in the workshop, like Valhalla or Shigo Islands or some of the other popular maps, they have been worked on for quite some time, and this one is rather new in its development. So I want to check this one out and see where it's heading, because I already like the visualistic style that it's being approached from. So I figured I would fly around and give you a little look on what this map has to offer. I'll show you the workshop page here because it is pretty cool. And wow, what is this, like a heat wave or something? Or is this a way I'm not supposed to be going? That could be a heat wave or some type of issue with the map. As I said, it's still in development, so you can expect to see some things that aren't polished yet and some things that will need a little bit of TLC, but you could say that about a lot of the mods that are out there. So I wouldn't use that as an excuse not to jump on this and play around. Let me show you the workshop page here so I can show you a few of the screenshots that have been set up. Alright, so here is the workshop page. You're seeing that it is done by Hey My Team Rules, which I think is such an awesome name, and it's R2 Gaming, which you may have heard of before. I know him pretty well in the modding community. He's pretty active. He helps out a lot with testing and things like that. So I did want to show this off a little bit and show you some of the screenshots that that have been put up for this map already. But if you're looking at the screenshots, you can see that it's a pretty different style than you would see with most maps. It feels very primal, to me at least. So that's one I wanted to check it out and give you guys a view of what's going on and what's happening in this mod here. So we'll go cut back to the main game here. Alright, so let's give it a little fly around. I am not sure. I know that there's an ice cave because I talked to him about the ice cave being added, but I'm not sure of how many caves are on here. But if you're strolling around this map, the first thing that I notice at least is it feels very much like, and I haven't been before, but it feels like an African environment. A part of that is just because of the overall hue or tint that you see. It is kind of yellowish, brownish, and it's giving kind of that day sunset feel, I should say. At least to me, it feels like a sunset. And I know that was a stylistic approach that was taken on this map, and I think it happens to play off well for this style. But as you can see, the landscape feels very much like you would see in a unevolved area, which I really like about it a lot. It doesn't look man-made. Some of the maps that I stroll around on feel man-made, but this one kind of feels like a natural formation to me, something like you would stroll upon in real life. So I definitely like the way that feels. I am not sure if there are biomes yet, so we'll check that out and see if we can fly past any biomes, but this definitely feels like a desert to me here. Very desert-like. And I'll talk a little bit about the assets here. The assets, we just have a standing rock. This looks kind of cool. Talk a little bit about the assets that are being used. Here's some cacti, I should say. So very cool. A different feel than you see on a lot of the other maps. So I really like where this map is going. It definitely also feels like for the builders out there that like to just build these massive bases, it definitely feels like there is some room here to do that. That's the other thing that I think people look for in maps is it something where I can build a base at. If the land is uneven, it definitely makes it challenging for building some enormous bases, but this seems to have a lot of flat land, so that's one of the things you may like if you jump on this map, is that there are definitely areas to build. One of the other things, at least I know I look for, is You know, how will it support a PvP environment and even a PvE environment? One of the things that people look for in maps are the resource spawns. Will there be enough resources, you know, to last for all the players that are going to be here? You know, if you have too many resources, I feel like it doesn't promote healthy PvP. And if you have too few resources, then you know you can get a lot of PvP action, but it may be a little hard on the people that are playing, you know, on that particular map. So those are a few of the things that we look for. I'll try. Oh, is this a cave entrance? We'll get off here and see if this is a cave. It kind of looks like it is. I just lucked. Oh, wow. What? Oh, I may have a cheat on. No, I actually don't. So. Oh, wait. I may. Sorry, guys. Wow. Is there just some collision issues here? And you can hear the footsteps for water, so we're finding out a couple of the things that you may see if you play here. And he's floating up in the air. How sweet is that? Alright, so this may not be a cave that's completely set up yet. So I didn't get that lucky. I was hoping I got lucky here, but I did not. So we'll jump back on trusty Pteranodon here. Pteranodon. Horrible pronunciation, but we'll jump back on here and keep flying. But here's one of the things that I don't necessarily like. So it is nighttime, but it still has that yellow tint, and kind of it still feels like the sun is out. So if we're looking up in the sky, it's supposed to be dark. So not sure how that will work for you fans who like that more immersive experience. It may throw you off a little bit, but it's one of the things I'm sure that will be worked on as time goes on. Here, looks like the terrain could be blended probably a little bit better, and these are more technical things. I always try to give a more critical look at things as well, because I know feedback is always important for people. So I want to give a little bit of a technical feel too, but it looks like this area here could be blended a little bit better as far as the transition goes. But again, things that will, this kind of seems like a work in progress area. As you can see, there isn't a lot of foliage, or you know, a lot of setup done here. So this could be something that is a desert biome, or you know, another biome that may be coming. So there's, what it feels like is there's never nighttime here, which a lot of people may like, honestly. I know a lot of people don't like you know, going out in the night. So if you're here, you'll be able to, you know, be able to party all day. So here is one of the flatlands that I was talking about. Like, if you look here, there is plenty of area to just kind of build a really massive base here. This could be something that is enormous. So lots of areas like that for builders. So you may like that about this map. Get back on and fly around here. One of the other things I've noticed is the whole map seems to be mostly styled the same. I don't see a lot of variation in some of the textures that were used, or some of even, here's just a random spawn of dinosaurs and creatures. I should say animals, because they're not all dinosaurs. We know we have a lot of people out there who are very adamant about what dinosaurs are and what animals are and what creatures are. So let me clean up my verbiage here. This is another thing that people look for, is how do the spawns work, as far as the amount of you know, animals that are spawned, where they're spawned at. That's another important thing that people look for. So take a look at, you know, how things are grouped up, and how many things are spawning as the, oh, they're given this, what is this? I can't tell what that is from back here, but they are chasing this down. That definitely feels very primal like. If these were lions, then it would definitely feel very much more primal to me. It would definitely feel like Africa. But a lot of variation in the actual height in the terrain, which I like a lot. You don't want to just always see a flat map, but to, see some variations is very cool. Some woolly mammoths and a T-Rex dueling it out here. Cool to see. Let me go ahead and set the time of day to something a little bit better. Alright, we're back to daytime here. But yeah, so, the spawns do seem to be prevalent. I wouldn't say that there aren't enough spawns. Are they varied, or are dinosaurs spawning in the area that they would like them to be yet? I'm not sure. That could always be a work in process or progress. So that could be something that they're still working on. But this definitely seems like a cool flat land to build around. And I also saw some metal nodes. I flew past some, so I'll try to keep an eye out for different resources as we fly through here. But yeah, it's definitely, this seems like a cool little flat area where you can build and have some cool battles at. And there definitely seems to be water nearby as well. There's a lake that appears to run through this map. Another thing that I know that I look for are, things that, I can identify on the land to navigate. The obelisk, of course, will give you a way to navigate, but I also look for things like this. If this river runs throughout the whole map, then it'll give me some way of, identifying where I'm at. I am horrible with getting lost in real life and games. It doesn't matter. Like, I will get lost anywhere. So I look for things like this to navigate, around the map. So these are cool features that I personally happen to like, and I'm sure a lot of other people happen to like. But this is a really cool little area here. It looks like some of the mountains, they probably are still working on the textures. In the distance, you can see they look a little repetitive, and there are things you can do in the dev kit to make them look less repetitive, like we're seeing here. But again, not just a critique, not anything that's going to take away from some of the fun that you'll have on this map. Here's some metal spawns here, so more metal seems to be a good variation of where this is spawning at. We'll fly over these mountains here and see if we see any type of resource nodes. I haven't noticed any obsidian yet, or any crystals, so we'll keep flying around here and see if we can spot anything. Here's some dead trees. I like the look or the feel that this gives you. If you watch any nature specials, and I watch a lot of them, a lot of time these trees will, or areas where it's very warm, which this feels very warm to me. I'm not sure what the temperature is, but a lot of areas like this will be prone to forest fires. And what happens is, it'll burn down the whole forest, but it will grow back and breathe new life. So that's kind of what this feels like to me. We have a different texture for the ground, kind of a cracked rock feel. Just kind of cool. And looks like a Carno here battling it out with some Argentavises. And oh wow, there seems to be a lot of saber-toothed tigers. A lot of saber-tooths. I've seen quite a few. So again, those are things that will be adjusted, spawn rates and things like that. But the other thing I did want to point out, and I think I might have said it earlier, but this map is relatively new in the modding scene. A lot of the maps that are out there, especially the more popular ones, they are more mature in the sense that they've had more time to work on them. This, I want to say that it's maybe 2 months, 3 months old. I could be wrong on that, but I know it's one of the newer maps, and is already trending in the workshop. It's definitely in the most popular downloads. It's on the first page, which is always a cool thing to see if you're a mod maker, to see, whoa, just flew through the map. We're not supposed to be going this way. Definitely cool to see your mod and the most popular mods. So this is one of them. So I want to check it out and give you guys kind of a fly through of some of the things that you can expect to see. So we reached the end of this area of the map, and let me see if I can pull the map up here. So the map hasn't been, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. I can't even tell if that's the normal map or not. Shame on me, but it did not look like it upon first glance. I could be wrong on that, but this area down here, very cool. It looks like water would maybe be a struggle on this map, which could provide for some cool gameplay experiences. When you can't find water, lots of metal. Wow, I'm just taken back by all the metal that's around here. So looks like that's something that was put into thought when they were making this map. It's how the resource nodes would work and if there would be enough of them. This area is Metal Valley. I think I'm going to dub this Metal Valley because there's tons and tons of metal to be seen here. Something that could be good if you're trying to build a metal fortress. Just kind of taking it all in now and looking at this area. Well, this definitely feels more like a biome because there are more dead trees and we kind of have this cracked soil look. So this could be, a biome, even if it's not, a traditional biome in the sense of a desert or a winter biome. It still could be a biome where you could have different spawns, different resources. This is, again, what I would call Meadow Valley. But this is definitely feels like a biome to me. And as we head out, you can see even the texture on the ground changes a little bit. If you look around, and that transition feels a little natural. Definitely, could use a little bit more work, but it feels more natural than the other transition that we saw on the other side. So we were just by, I think it was the blue obelisk. We'll head near the red obelisk and see what's over here. And there are some different spawns here, as you can see. We don't see a lot of the saber-toothed tigers over here. We're starting to see more pteranodons. So these spawns do look varied, and brontos also as well. I didn't see those in the other Meadow Valley biome. So definitely cool to see. Looks like some of the swamp trees were used here, if I'm not mistaken. See some carnos. Haven't seen a lot of dilos yet. We see some raptors here. Velociraptors. Some stegos. Yeah, so it's definitely varied over here a little bit. We'll fly over just a little bit more and see if we see anything differently. But one of the criticisms I do have is, again, a lot of this map, as far as the textures and the assets that were used, feel the same. And yeah, we don't want to go out of bounds here. They feel the same, and that could be a stylistic choice. That could be, something that they planned on doing, which is definitely not a bad thing at all. But that may be, something that turns you away from this map. So I want to point that out for people that are watching and people that are planning on checking this out. Another criticism I have, at least for me personally, it feels like on maps like the island, maps like the center, the obelisk are they're in spots that feel like it makes sense to have them. This seems like it's just in the middle of nowhere to me. Like the obelisk is just just been placed randomly. And in other maps, it feels like there is some build up, or there's some, there's some TLC and a level of detail added to areas that obelisks are. So that's a minor criticism I have there. Is it just feels like that obelisk is a little out of place. It's just floating. More transitional stuff here, and the ground cover helps as you get closer. The transition doesn't seem as drastic, but you can see far away. If you look in the distance, it feels a little bit more drastic, but those are just very easy things to fix. I'm sure they're trying to get the high level the high level finished as far as what the overall feel is, and then they'll dial into the details a little bit more. We have some palm trees here. This area of the map, I don't know if palm trees make sense to me, but again, this is just all. That's the thing I find about maps and mods in general, but a lot of the things that you're going to like and some of the things that you may not like are completely subjective. And that's what I honestly love about maps, is I feel like it shows the artist's creativity a little bit more than a traditional mod would. So that's the reason why I love reviewing maps and love going through them. And here we have a different texture I haven't seen yet. I can't really tell. Maybe like red sand or something. That's what it kind of feels like to me. I did want to check it. Oh wow, the hue changed. This is the first time I've seen the hue change on the map. I did want to jump off real quick and see if these bushes are harvestable. Oh man, I'm gonna lose my bird. And I don't think these bushes are harvestable, which, okay, yeah they are. No, they aren't. This is just stone. Yeah, so these, I would think these bushes are harvestable, just by the way that they look. Tons, it seems to be plenty of stone here, and then you see the hue just changed back. So, not exactly sure what that is, why this area doesn't have the hue applied. But, come on. You made it back, buddy. Yeah, I'm not sure why the area doesn't have the hue applied. Was that just a big crystal? And we're getting a huge stall here, and then we have a crash. Something you never want to see happen typically. We have a crash in the game. So what I'll do is I will get rid of this crash. We'll jump back in and we'll do a little bit more exploring, then I'll kind of wrap it up. And we are back after the crash. I'm not sure what that crash was about because I'm not really loading any custom mods here. And this is a clean save, so could just be, I'm not sure what it could be, but that's something to keep an eye out on. It's harder with maps to review things that are game breaking because you'll have to spend a little bit of time on them to find out where all those areas are. So if you're having issues with this map, let me know in the comments. I'd like to know how stable it is, but you know, this map is very cool. It's one of the few maps that I feel like puts you in an area, you know, in the world, and to me this feels much like a Serengeti or Africa, and there's some obsidian. I haven't seen a lot of obsidian, so it's cool to see that. But this definitely feels like it puts you in an area, and there's not a lot of maps that do that, so I give it a lot of kudos. Why am I don't have cheats on? Oh no, I'm gonna die. Why do I always die on every single mod review? It's unbelievable how that happens. But yeah, this puts you in an area, and I really like that, and that's a really big obsidian rock. But just in my little time here, I definitely like some of the things that are going on. So I'll give you a little overview of what my feelings are on the map right now. So right now, I feel like it definitely needs a little bit more TLC in the area of texturing. The textures that I've seen so far seem to repeat throughout the whole map, and again, that could be something that they're going for in a stylistic approach, but something I would call out. I think the textures could be blended a little bit better. They could be a little bit more varied to give you a different feel. So that's one of the things I. The other thing that I would call out is when it's nighttime, you still have the sun, you still have that hue appearing. So that's another thing that could be worked on and corrected. Another thing that I've noticed is there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of sea or a whole lot of water. And that's, it could bother people that love to explore in the water or love to go in the water and, for the water tames and things like that. So another thing that could bother you, the biomes, it does seem like there are biomes over here. It seems like that is a forest biome. I went to an area, the meadow area, seems like another biome. So it does seem to be like biomes, even if they're not in your traditional sense as like desert, winter, things like that. But there definitely appear to be biomes in here. Let's take a dip in the water. Normally, I do not like to go in the water at all. I'm going to be honest. This feels a little weird to me. This line in the water feels very weird to me. I don't think that's normal. Yeah, it looks like the water volumes could use a little bit of work. He has a saber-tooth salmon in, so, that shows that they are definitely keeping this up to date. Here would be my question is, how do you get out of this water? I don't like the water. But yeah, so overview, it's a really nice map. It's one of those few maps that give you a distinct feel, and it feels like you're in an area of the world versus some, area that's been unnaturally created. So that's something that's very cool about this. A lot of salmon in this water, and it kind of looks like they're just floating. So a little bit of work there. But those are the few things that I noticed. It's definitely a popular map. You can check it out in the workshop. Again, this is Madagascar Evolved, and I think it's a really cool start. Is this somewhere I can get out of the water? So I don't know how I would actually get out of the water. Oh, but this is a cool map. I think there will be more caves added. I can definitely tell you that there's going to be a lot more work done on this map because I know one of the authors got out of the water. Nice. I know one of the authors, so you can expect to see a lot more on this. But as always, if there's a mod that you would like to see reviewed, or something that you would like to see me walk through, please let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to give it a run. I really like this kind of yellow dead grass. Very cool look. Works very well with the map. Oh, raptor jump into the water. But if there's something you want to check out, let me know in the comments. I'll check it out. But that'll be it for this week. If you have any questions on this mod in particular, be sure to, or this map I should say, in particular, be sure to check out the Steam Workshop page and leave your questions there. But definitely a popular map. Loving where this is going. Needs a little bit of TLC again, like everything else, that is in the workshop. But I really, really, really like where this is going. So be sure to check this out. Give it a chance. Jump on a server that's hosting it. But I don't think I have anything else. So for this week, that is it. This is Said with Wildcard, and I am signing off.